welcome to Keeping It Real little video.
Okay, this is really real, folks. So Kate and I were just having our own little internal coaching conversation with one another, and we decided we got to push the button and just record this. And the topic is, why is it that when a woman sets a boundary, you're considered aggressive?
It's really true. I've had this experience now in the last couple of weeks in two very different occasions where I had to set some boundaries around timing and money and things that are very important to me, and they make me feel safer when I know what those fence lines are for me, right? And I get this feedback from these people that I'm doing this where I'm like, "Oh man, they did not like that. They think that I am being aggressive or a difficult woman."
Yeah, part of what we were unraveling with these scenarios, we do this all the time with each other, by the way, is that when you set a boundary, it is actually a form of self respect. And part of what helps establish those boundaries is something about that boundary is a value of yours. And so in this case, Kate was talking about, time or money, or because knowing those things provides something for her. And so that's the interesting place where we got to the push the record button is it's really about you. But when you set those boundaries, it immediately becomes received as about them.
It suddenly, and we were sort of making the connection between that it feels like I'm being judgmental about them and what they're doing or not doing. And it was this realization of like, oh my gosh, like, and I was like bending over backwards, being like, I'm not mad. But this is something that I feel like we need to sit down and have a separate conversation. We were talking about shared agreements and sort of bringing that into it. Let me understand what you guys might be needing that you're not getting. And it was one of those things that it was like, oh my God, regardless of how many times I tried to couch this in a way to make them feel like I'm not being critical of you, it didn't really matter. The feeling was that I was somehow being judgmental about them. And that's that feedback piece where they got triggered. They got triggered into some sort of a reaction that I was being judgmental about them.
Yeah, I was sharing with Kate one of the gifts I think I got so early on in my career. I think I was 27. I was working at Stanford and we had access to the faculty and staff training development. And I went to one because I'd been given feedback in, performance reviews about being too assertive, too aggressive, too direct in my conversation. And so I did a course on assertive message giving, which changed my life and gave me permission from a very early point in my career to understand how to deliver an assertive message and stand in that message without it being aggressive. Now, it doesn't mean that all those hard, assertive messages I've delivered over the years haven't been received, but that's about work I can then do on the delivery so that it doesn't have that impact. But having the confidence to deliver an assertive message and know I'm not being aggressive when I'm doing it, boy, it's been a gift.
Yeah. And I love that distinction between, because I think it also is a place to self-check. Am I just being aggressive here? Or am I just trying to assert something? And if I am, I loved your question too, which is what's the value underneath that
Yeah.
I need to take a stand for? What is that? Let me make sure that I'm clear about what the value is that is important to me.
We see that, I think, a lot, Kate, when we're coaching people. It's so hard to make a clear request because they can't claim the value for themselves under the request. And so the communication gets muddled and people are unclear about what's actually happening. Again, because I think people are apprehensive about asking for what they want or need because it does trigger that sense of being judged over here. And then you have to deal with all that cleanup over there. And so people just avoid it. And we live in this world of indirectness and lack of clarity so much of the time.
Yeah. So get curious with yourself. Where are you being aggressive? Where are you being assertive? And if so, what is the value that's underneath that assertion?
What matters to you and why does it matter?
Great.
Then ask for it.